Good morning, everybody. It's Positive Tuesday today, October 6th, 2020. Oh, that's too loud. I can't even hear. I'm Ben Dredden, and you are, of course, watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy. Thank you, Adam Jarko, for filling in last week when Fitzy was playing hooky, I think. Also, thanks to my guest on last Friday's Meet the Candidate. That was Senator Patty Schuchner. This Friday will be her opponent in the 10th Senate District. That would be Representative Rob Staffsholt. But today, of course, it's Positive Tuesday, which that may bring a whole new meaning after we talk for a little bit here. What Positive Tuesday is. Fitzy, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Great.
So it looks like you've rearranged your office.
Yeah, I have. I'm actually on the end of my 10-day quarantine here in wonderful Rice Lake.
Quarantine. So you've got the COVID, the corona.
I got the COVID. Yep. And so wasn't a secret, but for some reason it's people are concerned that I don't know, haven't been at the office or what, but I did somehow contract the COVID and did get it. Luckily, we always like to talk about the positive is I didn't get sick. And so that was a blessing. And I'm on the last day of my quarantine here in my little office in my home. And this is where I've been spending the last 10 days of my quarantine here, right here.
So I want to know all about this, by the way. Actually, I don't know anyone that's, personally, I don't know anyone that's
Right.
tested positive. So I don't know what, the experience is. Ooh,
Right.
and I also want to ask you about, I should just write these things down. How the mental aspect of it. Because that's something I always thought that if I was just put in this little room, at first it's like, yeah, this is cool. Everyone's bringing me food and, I can sit in front of the TV. But after a while, man, that's just got to screw with your head. But
Right.
first, so how did this all, when did you find out?
Well, it would have been 11 days ago. I had a slight cough, and another member of my administrative team was ill, and so they got tested. I got tested, and we ended up both being positive, and so that started the quarantine process. And like I said, just had a slight cough, nothing out of the ordinary, still functioned, had energy, did not have a fever, did not lose my appetite, did not lose my taste or smell. A lot of those things happen. I mean, and what we've been talking about with COVID is it affects everyone differently, and that's the troublesome maybe with this illness is that it affects everyone differently. Some people get really, really sick, and some people don't even know they have it, and that's the confusing part of this for doctors, I think, and nurses is that it's just like, oh, you have these symptoms and then you have it. Well, I had a cough, like I said, continued to work. And I didn't go to the office on that Friday except for about 45 minutes to get some paperwork. I was taking the day off anyway to do some things around the house and outside because it was nice. And my kid had a football game. And after I got tested, obviously our policy at the sheriff's department is once you're tested, you can't go back to work until your results come back. Well, it took about 2 days for the results to come back, and I was positive. And luckily, I had quarantined myself due to my other person on my team's illnesses. I had quarantined myself already starting that had been 14 days ago now.
Mm.
And so
real quick, so for you, it was just a cough. Was it
that's it.
Like just an annoying cough, or
No.
like, man, this is not something's wrong.
No, just like, man, I got a cough and I don't know why.
Huh.
But not enough to even do anything to me. Not enough to, like, oh man, I should rest. I'm tired. No, not even that. So continued to do things but luckily I stayed in this little room that you're seeing me in, and this is where I sleep, and no one else in my family was infected.
Oh, good.
And but they had to quarantine partially too, and get some tests done, and they were negative, so that's good for them. But I wear a mask. If I leave this room, I wear a mask inside my house. I can go outside and be by myself, but that's about it.
The other person on your staff, he or she doing okay? I mean, obviously that's private stuff. I get that, but I mean, are they doing okay?
Now. It was
Okay.
very serious. A person on my team, had some serious conditions as part of this COVID. And but the operations did go on at the sheriff's department. We didn't close.
I was just gonna ask, so you just shut down the sheriff's office?
Yeah. Sheriff's out. So no, that we can function well without me. They're not the. I'm not the. I make the decisions. Although I worked every day from here. Obviously, I can. I have a computer and can see what's going on, and I have a cell phone and answered emails and continue to do things. But
Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy. We can still do
yep,
that.
still
I remember
did
when you
that.
told me that you had COVID, and I'm like, oh, so I guess we're not doing a show then on Tuesday. You're like, no, I think I still can actually, because
I was just hoping that the connection worked good enough, and we
yeah,
tested it yesterday,
yeah,
um, and so I just we just need to wear masks more. I was part of a COVID meeting yesterday for Barron County, and while our numbers aren't skyrocketed like the rest of the state, we still have quite a bit of cases out there. I think we're at 40 or 50 cases, which again, we were in the 150s.
mm-hmm.
So having 50 cases seems like a walk in the park. But what's interesting about this and learning more about it or paying more attention to it maybe now because you have it or had it or whatever it is that it's the close contacts that really I limited myself and my other member of my staff limited ourselves and we didn't infect the sheriff's department, and we didn't infect our families. And so, but you really, it, but I kept track of who I was with, and you've got to be honest with that because you can really affect other people and their lives. And they don't even know that they have it. So it's the close contacts that you want to be honest with people about when public health does call you. You're not wrecking someone's life for it's 10 days. And you talked about the mental part of this, and it was really a mental part of it for me. Having COVID and it's really and not being sick and being blessed that um,
Yeah.
um, you know, I hadn't been sick, so I was able to function upright, and talk about that. But it was a mental game of being in this room, locked in this room,
Yeah. So
you
tell me,
know.
so day one,
Mhm.
because I really have literally nothing written down for us to talk about. So this is what we're talking about now.
Yeah, well,
Um,
I guess it is.
so day one, I mean, you don't have to go through everything that you did on day one, but just the mental part of it. Day one, all right. So you're just probably getting set up. Make sure I don't know if somebody to drop some things off at your house for work stuff, some scanners, some I don't know whatever cops have. So you're getting all set up. I'm assuming the first day, and I'm assuming first day is pretty good, right?
Yeah, it's still a mental game on your first day. I was frustrated. One, that I had it. Two, I couldn't go to work. Three, I couldn't do anything else. I couldn't leave this room.
Yeah.
Day one and two were probably the toughest.
Really? See, I
Uh,
would have thought it would be more like now would be the toughest. You're just going stir crazy.
Well, one, you're frustrated. Two, you're worried that you didn't infect. How many people did you infect? How many
Oh,
people, so you have this game in your head that you're trying to play like, oh man, I hope my kids don't get it. I don't want to have my kid miss football. I don't want to have my daughter miss school. I don't want to have my wife miss work. I don't want to have this at the office, blah, 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 blah. So until you get some results back, test results back, so day one and two were tough emotionally, I guess I would say.
hmm.
Um, in the fact that you're locked in this room and now you can't do anything, and I'm not a guy to sit around and I love being at the office, I love being involved, I love my job, I love being involved in my kids' lives,
Mhm.
and so that was very frustrating and angered, and how did I get this, and I wore a mask and I didn't do anything, and man, how did so because I still don't know how I got it. I mean, my other member of my staff has it. I don't know who got it first, who did what, but that's just how it is. And we're not going to figure it out. We're not going to backtrack and figure it out. But,
And
but then day 3 and 4, I was like, well, this isn't so bad. And I'm already 4 days into my 10 days, so it gets a little bit better, but then it's a nice weekend. And so now, and you can't do anything on the weekend, and so now, you're locked in this house and you're family's locked in the house, and my son had to move to a friend's house because he wasn't home for 3 days because of football and hockey. So he actually wasn't infected. So if he stayed out of the house, he could go to school and be here. So he was cleared by public health, and so he had to actually move to a friend's house for the last 6 days. So,
sheepers. I mean, so you're in that room. So we're halfway through. Day like
yeah.
4.
Mhm.
Somebody just drops your food off at the door, kind of thing, right?
Yep. Yep.
And then,
Yep.
okay, I'm not going to ask you how the restroom stuff works. um, so
Well,
you can work, and obviously with COVID being what it is, and if it's safer at home, and all the stuff that we have talked about many times, there's a lot of new S&Ps, right? And SOPs as well. Standard operating procedures. From now on, we can do Zoom meetings instead of going,
Right.
and maybe we'll just keep doing that. But a lot of your committees that you're on, your law enforcement, your communication, as you had said, that you have your cell phone, you're on a lot of boards. I'm assuming a lot of those meetings are still remotely
Right.
done, so you can
Right.
still be a part of that.
Right.
And you were, I think it was 2 or 3 times ago when we were chatting, maybe like a month ago, you were in the office and you were saying that you could see everything on the screen and all the
Right.
cop cams and all that stuff. Is all that at your house now too?
Oh yeah.
So you
And I
are
have
very connected to the Barron County
very
Sheriff's Department.
very connected to whatever, and knock on wood, nothing bad has happened, and I have about 12 more hours in this room and I'm cleared. And I see one of the questions is how many negative tests do I have to have before I can come back? None. Once you hit your 10th day, and I'll actually be at 11 days, since my first symptom, I'm free. You're as long as you don't have a fever or your symptoms have gone away, you're free to go back to work. So you don't need a negative test to come back. The virus only can last 10 days. And that's why you're clear on day 10. And so tomorrow will be day 11 for me. And, I'll be clear and I'll be back at the office tomorrow morning. I got a meeting at 8 a.m. So we'll hit it hard. But yeah, this is probably the longest conversation I've had with anybody in the last 10 days because I don't want to infect anybody. So I've been sitting in this room talking on my cell phone.
Yeah, it's not like you're just going to call the jailers or something.
Right.
Or dispatch. Hey, what are you guys doing?
Yeah. I'm surprised. They're probably thinking I probably was going to do that, but I didn't. I held off. And that's some of the other things that you're like, oh, I just want to do that. Oh, I just want to do that.
How do you talk to your wife? Do you guys just between the door, when it's closed, or do you find that you're texting? Do you guys do any Zoom things just so you can see her?
Well, I can go out into my house. I just have to have a mask on. I just can't go into the kitchen where there's a common area. I can walk through my house to go outside. I can, I've stood in the entryway of my house and talked to my wife who was in the living room. It's about 15 feet away. She was outside. I was outside. We were, in the backyard. So we could have a conversation during that. I mowed my grass. As long as, one of my neighbors was outside, I'm like, hey, I got COVID. Just so you know, don't come by me. I'm not being a bad neighbor. I'm just going to mow my grass and be outside because I can be outside. You're pretty much safe outside as long as no one's around you and no one was around in my neighborhood.
By the way, I'm going to use that all the time now. Stay away from me, neighbors. I got the COVID. I'll see how long I can get away with that.
Man, that guy got COVID forever.
It's a really, really bad case. Yeah, the new string or strand, whatever.
He can go to the store, but he can't talk to his neighbors.
Go to the store. Yeah. So then you're up to like day 6, right?
Yeah.
And it's the mental part of it.
Yeah. By
day 6, are you just okay? It is what it is. Or are you facing different kind of mental challenges then?
I don't know. I got to think about that. It was 4 days ago. 4 days ago, which was, it was, you're looking. It was a Friday night. I mean, there was a football game I could have went to. I didn't get to go, and my son played. But that's just life. I've missed my kids' games before for work things, and it's just part of it. And that's just what you do. To make sure your community stays safe and your family stays safe is that you just stay home. So you're still playing some of the mental game. You're still thinking, oh man, now what am I going to do all day? Now it's Saturday and it's nice out.
Which, real quick, that's probably worse, right? So on, so what day? You're on what, day 9? You said out of 10.
Well, tomorrow's Wednesday and I get to go back. That's day 11. So yeah.
So this is
So
okay. So is this your last day in quarantine?
this is my last day. I got 12 hours left.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So Saturday and Sunday. So you had said before, you were able to work. You have meetings. You're part of the sheriff's department, and you're a sheriff. It's a 24/7 job. You're never not working. However,
Right.
you still have more things to do on a Monday through Friday than you're going to do on a weekend. So on
Correct.
the weekend, you're waking up and going, okay, my routine before so far this week is I do this, I have this meeting, and I do this, and I communicate with my staff, and then it's Saturday, and it's oh man, I don't have any of that stuff to do.
Yeah.
So how did the Saturday Sunday go versus like that Thursday and Friday?
A little bit longer days because you're like, now what do I do?
Yeah.
And there's really nothing going on, and so you just, luckily I watch the NFL still, and not, and we can get into the kneeling and all that other stuff that we talked about before. They're entertainers, and I needed entertainment,
Yeah.
and I don't put them up here on a pedestal when it comes to NFL, but I do watch NFL. That's my entertainment. I don't believe in some of the things they stand for, but that they're entertainment figures to me, and I watched
Yep.
NFL. So Sunday was okay because I could watch football all day, Monday night football, some college football on Saturday. So it's a little bit different. But some long days, and you get bored, and you spend a lot of time walking through the house to go outside, to take my mask off, to just sit outside and do whatever.
Yeah.
I put some things in the shed. I just did a few little things. I bagged some leaves up, and just here and there doing some things. And luckily enough, again, I was blessed that I was able to function and do some of those things, because otherwise you're just,
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get depressed in a room.
Yeah, you absolutely can. And as you had said, obviously we're making some light of some of this stuff because that's just what we do, right? We got to find some levity. But it's interesting. You have another person that was there or that was on your staff that it was not the same experience. And there's a lot of people who are going through not the experience you are. So obviously that's more of a physical aspect of it. But for yours, it sounds like it's more of the mental part of it. So you make it through the weekend, Monday morning, okay, I can do some work. So that was yesterday.
Right. I had a meeting. You're the guy that came 20 minutes to the meeting early. You're on Zoom. Boom. I'm waiting for someone to get on so I can say, hey. Be like, my meeting starts at 9. Well, I'm going to get on at 8 just in case someone gets on early. I've been here since 7:30 waiting for you to log on.
Let's go, guys. Come on. Yeah. Oh man, and you're one of the worst. You're one of those guys. Then at the end of the meeting, hey, okay, does anyone else have any questions? We should wrap it up. And you're just, I got a question. You're just dragging it on.
One more meeting.
Yeah. It's like, Chris, shut up. We want to go.
Yeah, I almost enrolled in school and took some classes. I did watch there was one online class I did take, or an online meeting or a session for law enforcement that I did take and do while I was sitting here last week. So that was an hour and a half that I was able to do something. But again, blessed that I have a command staff that handled everything at the sheriff's department. Every one of us is replaceable. And, so obviously my captain called when he needed something, or if somebody else needed something, they called. I can still make decisions. And, we still functioned and didn't have any serious things going on. So just happy to see our kids still in school. I want to give a shout out to our teachers and our administrators again that are doing a tremendous job of keeping our kids in school and keeping our kids involved in sports and athletics. It's a blessing for I know my son, and I he's excited, and again our teachers are doing an unbelievable job, and our staff is doing an unbelievable job of getting through this. And it sounds like we're going to have a month or two or maybe 3 more of this, and we'll get through it.
But we've gotten to this point, right? So school's been open for a month. And
Right.
let's face it, none of us knew what was going to happen.
Right.
We had no clue if schools like 2 weeks in, yeah, they're all shut down. We didn't know if the governor was going to do something or or something and force everyone to do online. But I mean, obviously, I think we all reasonably assumed that cases would go up, right?
Right.
Plus, it's getting colder, more people inside, windows aren't open, etc. And that certainly has happened, and a few more positive. But I don't know. I mean, I look at the numbers every day. I'm actually not surprised. I'm glad, I guess, that they're
Right.
not going up as much as they could have.
Right. And there's no question about that. And I think that's the positive part that, everybody's going to say, well, one case is too many. Hey, I agree with that. But that's just not the reality of where we're living right now. So, I think we're at 44 active cases in Barron County. And at one point over the summer, we had 150 active cases, when we had an outbreak in Cumberland area. So, excuse me. I think that, we can handled that very well. I know it's putting a strain on. It's the close contacts again that we talked about that puts the strain on some of our public health staff. But for the most part, they're doing it, and I know they're having some mental health days. That they're frustrated with, people not giving them correct information, or people that go get tests and then continue to go to work. I mean, those are the things that we can't do to protect other people.
Yeah.
Once you get a test, you should probably stay home until those results come back in, because if you think you're positive, then you probably might be, and you should quarantine yourself as much as you can, as quick as you can, because that's going to save other people from doing that. And that's the blessing that, I was able to do, and my family was able to function, and that was a blessing.
Yeah.
But it can spread that quick, and we just have to be careful. And
how many deaths are there now COVID related? I wish I would say related. COVID related deaths is it 6 now? I mean,
I think
total.
it's 6. Yeah.
6. Do you happen to recall, now again, this is not to, you and I have talked multiple times about this. For us, the COVID thing, it's not political at all. It just isn't. If we can do something to try to help our neighbors, our friends, our family, our coworkers, yeah, we're going to do that.
Right.
Do you happen to recall how many alcohol-related deaths, fatalities, whether it's car accident or something else, in Barron County so far this year?
This year,
Yeah.
I think we are at, we did have a fatality last week while I was out. And I think that was at 5. Now, I don't know how many were alcohol related. I only think one of those was alcohol related.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was our 5th fatality, if I recall.
Okay.
In Barron County last year.
Yeah.
Or this year, I should say.
Maybe this is a bad analogy, but as usual, we're just winging it here. A lot of those, I mean, alcohol, you've talked about that before, alcohol-related deaths, terms like specifically crashes. They're 100% avoidable.
Right.
100%. Now, I don't know if COVID-19 is 100% avoidable. I'm not a doctor. I have no idea. But there's certainly things that we can do to prevent people from dying. Obviously, you have to test positive usually first. So, yeah, whether mask or social distance or do something. But it just seems like another thing. And I know I've seen a lot of people on Facebook saying that, why are we reporting all these numbers? Not just Dryden Wire, but why is anyone talking about COVID and all the numbers? We should be talking about something else, or I don't know.
Oh, we'd love to be talking about something else.
That'd be fantastic. Trust me. I'd love not to do these every day. But it is just another one of those things that it can be avoidable, or at least we can significantly reduce the odds and the chances.
Right. And that's all our public health is asking us to do. And I know some people don't believe in masks and whatever, but masks reduce or slow the spread. I'm not there. It's not going to get rid of it. There's no question about it. But I want our schools to stay open. I want our businesses to stay open. I want everything to be as normal as it can be. And if that means wearing a mask, just wear the mask.
Yeah, wear the mask.
It's as simple as that. And we're all, not all of us, because there's some people that are very good at wearing masks, but there's times where you're like, I'm just running in to get this. I don't need a mask. Our kids are doing it at school all day. They're wearing masks like rock stars. I mean, our elementary kids they're knocking this out of the park, and we need to take a clue from some of our elementary kids on how easy this is to do as adults, and stop whining and crying about certain things and just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And every adult is guilty of it, and we need to take a look at our elementary kids and just say, wow, if they can do it, we can do it. Our high school kids are doing it so they can play sports and be involved in clubs and bands and whatever it is. So let's just do it and get done with this. And like we've been saying for a long time, the New Year's Eve in 2020 is going to be
Gonna be something.
be the ultimate.
Well, it's funny you brought up kids and just kind of looking at them as kind of the example. I can almost just, I mean, what does a parent say when a kid asks their mom, so an elementary school or middle school kid, why aren't you wearing your mask?
Yeah.
What answer do you give? Because you can't explain, well, maybe it's like a political reason, or you don't believe in it, or, CDC is just a bunch of liars, or this is all Democrats, or whatever it is. But you can't really explain that to an 8-year-old.
Right.
So what do you say? And again, I don't care. People want to wear masks, fine. I wish people would, but hey, that's your business. All I can do is what's best for my house and my family. But it's easy for me because my life is pretty much in quarantine. It's either at the house, here at the studio, or my office across here, but I really don't go anywhere, so I only have to wear the mask when I run in to get gas.
Right.
So that's kind of nice. It's the people that have to wear them all day. I know some people have complained more coughing because I don't know, some of these masks, they're having a hard time, but
Right.
I don't know, figure it out.
Yeah, and you just take a break and take your mask off and do what you need to do. So,
Yeah. Hey, real quick question. I wrote this down because we were talking about alcohol-related deaths and COVID-19 related deaths. Obviously, most of these are underlying health issues. Here's a crazy hypothetical.
okay,
Probably a terrible analogy. If we'll use you, you have COVID-19, and let's say you get in a car, which I don't think you're supposed to, but if it's just your own personal car, something, have the windows down, just I need to go for a drive. And again, maybe you're not supposed to do that. But in this scenario, you decide to. And you also had a whole bunch to drink.
mm-hmm.
And you weren't paying attention, you run into a building and die.
Okay.
I'm not saying this sarcastically, or asking this sarcastically. Would that be a COVID-related death because you had COVID? I mean, is it like it doesn't matter if you have COVID and you die of anything? Is a COVID-related death?
I would say not. I would say COVID didn't have a real, it'd be different if I had a bad heart and I had COVID and I died of a heart attack. That COVID probably didn't help my heart pump as well as it should have. So that would be a COVID related death. I would say no in the no to the alcohol one because alcohol was the factor, not COVID was the factor.
Yeah.
But who knows? Yeah.
Darren Worth just said, poor kids who have a rash from wearing mask all day.
Yeah.
I don't know. We have our dry wire masks, so I give them to the kids. It's like free advertising for me, right? Or marketing. But so I don't know, get a different mask. Yeah, I don't know. Do the schools supply the masks, don't they, or don't they? I don't know.
Yes, the school supplied. I know in Fort Rice Lake they did for my kids. They supplied masks. And, I know my wife went out and bought a couple extra for my son to wear. Some nice cloth ones. I know there's a lot of people, that sell masks and all these embroidery, stores around sell masks and have masks on hand. So maybe try a different mask for your kids. I get it. It sucks.
Yeah.
They're in school. They're with their friends. Boy, I don't even know if they care. So, but hopefully, we can all get through this, and 2021 will be a great year for all of us. And it was still a great year. I mean, we're still doing a lot. There's still a lot of good out there going on. So just keep doing it. We'll keep moving forward. And, we don't have a lot more to talk about now that everybody's, I appreciate all the thoughts and the comments on here. And I'm just praying for all the rest of the people that are out there that are sick. And so we can get our hospitalizations down to zero and some less cases here in Northwest Wisconsin. And let's show the rest of Wisconsin how it's done. And we are. I'm to be honest, the best place to be in Wisconsin for COVID right now is in Northwest Wisconsin. We have the least number of cases, if you want to call it that. And, and we're doing the best and let's reduce our numbers even more and show the rest of Wisconsin how it's done, like we do with most things.
And I'm glad that you did come on because it was, I think it was starting yesterday. I started getting some people, hey, did you hear? the sheriff has COVID-19 in Barron County. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't know anything about it. I'm like, Chris, yeah, because I don't care. I mean, it's not that I don't care. I'm sorry. That was wild. You know what I mean? They
No,
want me to run a story on it, right? And we had put something up on our, it was a news release or a letter sent to the families. I think it was like a third middle school student, and our kids go to middle school here in Spooner, had tested positive, and then they decided we're going to close down the school for a few days, do some whatever. And someone had commented, well, how come we didn't do anything for like the president having COVID? Write a story on that. I'm like, what's the story? The headline is the story, right?
right.
President test positive for COVID-19. And we did put that in our U.S. and World headline links. Just we can't write a story. There's no story there. And
Right.
Senator Johnson had it. And how come you're not doing it? What's okay? That's kind of setting a precedent now. I got to start doing stories on everybody who's tested, and I don't want to go down that road, man. So I'm glad you came on this morning and said something, because I was getting tired of asking and telling people. I don't know what's going on.
I could have kept it close to me. It's a health condition, you know.
Yeah.
You don't have to talk about your health, but I want people to learn from this. I want people to, understand it, and not that I had it bad. So I'm a bad example of COVID because I didn't have any, symptoms, that knocked me down, or, I functioned every day fine. I didn't, like, oh man, I had to take 6 naps. No, nothing like that during the COVID. I was bored and I was probably bugging people, but that's probably no different than any other Tuesday.
Well,
there's probably a vacation at the office. They're like, he didn't bug us all day.
Oh. Well, and on that note, seriously, thank you. That is the other part, right? Is about the there's HIPAA laws, man. We got to be careful about what we say, or not you and I say, but I mean what we would report and who has what. And but thank you for actually. Obviously, we usually get into more law enforcement stuff, and we've certainly touched on some of that here. But thank you for actually talking about this and what your experience was like and going through it and being open about it. Again, you certainly didn't have to do that. I actually learned quite a bit. So thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
No problem. And I hope no one else gets it. And, it's just, but I mean, it's the reality of it is it's probably more people are going to probably get it. And hopefully, they just don't get sick. And we put, we let her have, I'd like to see this gone by Thanksgiving to give our public health people the month of December off. They're working hard. And if you know someone in public health or a nurse or a doctor, just send them a text, give them a shout out, tell them thanks for what they're doing, because, there's frustrated people that are going up there that says, fix me. And that's tough. And it sucks. And so give a shout out to our medical people, our public health people, again, our teachers and our superintendents for making these tough decisions. And we'll get through this together like we do everything else. And we'll move forward, and I'll be happy to be at work tomorrow and rip roaring ready to go.
Yeah. And actually, I'm going to do that. I am going to, as soon as we finish here, I am going to email a couple people in the public health world and say thank you.
Yep.
So,
and it's just cool. Can you talk about the law enforcement rally we're having October 17th? There is a law enforcement rally October 17th in Chautauqua. I don't have that in front of me. Sorry, Kim, but it's in Chautauqua at a church. And they're having a Back the Blue rally for law enforcement, and just a show of support. And if I don't know that I can be there personally, but I'm going to try. And then they're gonna just have some support for law enforcement. So look for more of that. We'll share something on our Facebook page this week about that Back the Blue rally on October 17th. And I appreciate that group putting that on to support law enforcement and everything they're doing for law enforcement.
What time are you officially finished with your 10-day quarantine? What time today?
End of the day today, so
like midnight or 6 p.m.
I think it's like 5. There's a time. It's
you don't have that like on a stopwatch or a countdown somewhere.
Between 5 and 6, I'll be done.
Well, be safe. Let's make it 6.
Yeah, we'll be safe. We'll
right.
probably just make her tomorrow morning because I don't have any plans to go anywhere tonight.
All right. Well, I'll be looking on your Facebook page at 5 o'clock and make sure you're not posting pictures of you
Yeah,
at the office or something.
yeah, at the office. I thought you were on the bar. Downtown with Big Schmitty's and Rice Lake, and
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Fitzy, thanks
All
so
right,
much, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
all right. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
You've been watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy. We'll see you right back here next week. Until then, stay safe, keep your social distance, and as always, have a blessed day.